Hello beautiful people, my name is Bridget and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having an awesome day, and today's video is going to be about palettes again. So today I'm going to give you an update on what I did for my November palettes. So October, November, and I'm going to keep going, is like months I decided I wanted to start using palettes I already have and see if I can like get some good use out of them instead of like focusing on the same ones. So I gave myself a dedicated amount of palettes to really focus on that month and like use and see what I can what I use. So we're doing that again. So I'm giving my updates for my November palettes as well as which palettes I'll be focusing on trying to use in the month of December. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Okay, so before we get started talking about some palettes, let's talk about today's sponsor, which is Dossier. So, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry if I'm not, but Dossier is a fragrance service, which is actually really affordable. So, your average fragrance at like Ulta or something is usually like $100. I've bought Adam 2 really expensive fragrances since we've been together, and it was a lot of money. So I am way happier if I can spend less money and still get a really good fragrance, so that's where Dossier comes in. So Dossier is a $29 fragrance. They have tons of different options. You can even get like 2 for $49, 3 for $69 if you don't want to pay $29 each. But $29 is the price on Dossier compared to $100 at Ulta or Sephora or even more, because I've seen some expensive fragrance prices. And these are actually dupes for really well-known fragrances that you know already and probably own. So you can go on their website, you can check out a bunch of their fragrances, and you can click which, like, this is comparable to Armani Code or Light Blue, and you can pick what you want. It's a dupe for the fragrance. It doesn't come from China, nothing cheap. They actually source their products from Europe, so it's better quality than, say, something that's just mass produced to be a dupe. You actually know what's in these products. It even shows you the ingredients. Okay, and other than it being a really affordable dupe, so you instead of spending $100 on a fragrance, you're only spending $29 and it smells the same, and it's good ingredients that are transparent about what's like in their products. My favorite thing, so here's your little box that it comes in, and it's like a little thank you card, and it tells you about the products. So here's, this one is called Oriental Woodsy 4. This is the one I picked because I thought it was more of a man scent. We all know I love men's scents. This is like, it tells you how to do everything. So in here you get the bottle. So here is the bottle for the Oriental Woodsy 1. It tells you the top notes of here. It's a very simple bottle. It looks very like clinically, it looks very clean and crisp, but very minimalistic, and it smells really good. This has like that tinge to it, you know, like when you smell a spicy man. That's why I like this one. But my favorite thing about Dossier is that, other than it being affordable and cruelty-free and vegan, is every bottle comes with a sample. So you can spray the sample, see if you like it. And you can return the big bottle without being used if you don't like it. So you can smell the sample first, and you can return it. You can turn the whole bottle, brand new, back to them for them to use or whatever. I don't know what they do with it, without actually having to use the big bottle and it being used. So you can smell the sample before you actually use the product, and I love that, because what if I open it up and I spray it and I hate it, then I feel like it's a used product. But if I just try the sample first, which actually has a good amount of product in here, I would put this in my purse. You can see if you like it and then do the returns that way, which I love because I feel like it's really convenient for the customer. If you want to do a return, if you don't like the scent you picked, this little sample is all you have to test out, which I love. So I want to thank Dossier for sponsoring today's video. I will leave a link at the top of the description box, of course, and now let's get into the palettes. Alright guys, so this is the second month I'm doing like a recap. The first time I did a recap, I think I did a good job of like explaining how many times I used each one, but this month I left a tally for myself so I would know like what I used out of the palettes that I gave myself to use. Also, a bunch of these were added because I knew I was going to get the Shane palette, and then a couple I acquired and decided to use, or it was like a new Colourpop release I really wanted to put like an Instagram look out using. So there is more palettes on this list than I expected when I first started out, so my palettes for December are a lot less. Let's go and get started with the first thing on my list, which was the Alien palette. I've been using this every day for my eyebrows, because there's a pretty purple in here that's really good for eyebrows, but I haven't been using, like, when I use something for a highlight for my face or use something for my eyebrows, I don't count that as the time I use the palettes. So I've just been using this purple for my eyebrows every day. But many times as I used the palette on my eyes, I used it 5 times this month, and I feel like that's good because I have not reached this thing since I reviewed it. So I feel like using it 5 times is good. It's like a work week of looks that I made with this palette, and I feel like that's a pretty good amount. I kind of just focused on the neutral colors in here, honestly. I didn't really adventure into anything. I used like a tap or two of the black, and then I mainly used like the normal kind of shades. I really love this shade the most. It's so pretty. It's called Phone Home. It's such a mauve color, and I use this for like highlights and stuff, but I didn't really dive into any of the darker colors like I really wanted to, but I did use it 5 times this month, so I feel like that was pretty decent, and I feel like I used it a bunch just because I was dipping into it for my eyebrows so much, and I'm going to keep doing this for my eyebrows for now, but I'm not going to use it on my face. It's not one of the palettes for December. The next palette I focused on was the Goddess palette from Alter Ego. I didn't do as much as I thought I was going to do with this. When I first started the month, I used this a lot, and then I stopped using it. So I used this 4 times. This is the Alter Ego Goddess palette, which is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette, I believe. I used this 4 times. Again, really neutral, soft looks I did with this. That's what I do most days, and I'll do like a darker lip lately. Just like a normal eye look, a little bit of a darker lip. But I used it 4 times. I kind of used like the goldy shades from here and the neutral shades. But 4 times isn't too bad. I just feel like I didn't get as much use out of this one as I really thought I was going to. The next up after that was the Tartelette in Bloom. I haven't been able to put this thing down, so this is not going to be in my December palettes. I didn't use it too much in November, but every other month before that I've been dipping into this heavy. So I used the Tartelette in Bloom palette 4 times as well. When I want to like the most effortless look, I'll reach into this palette. I love this palette. You can probably tell I put a good hurting in a lot of the shades, especially this one right here. But I love this palette to death. I only used it 4 times this month, but that's because I was trying not to reach into it too much, but I still ended up reaching into it 4 times. But, you know, that's why we have a list of things and how many times I use them. The next palette that I tried to use is the Huda Beauty Coral palette. I never used this once before this month. I had it for months and I never used it, so I put it in here to use, and I ended up using this 3 times, which doesn't seem like much, like, oh, you only used it 3 times, but honestly that's way more than I've ever used it, which is none, so I feel like it's not that bad. It is not my favorite palette in the world, honestly. I feel like the tones are cute and everything, but like the formula of some of the mattes are kind of dry, but it's an okay palette. I would definitely use it again. I'm glad I got 3 uses out of it because I wouldn't get any otherwise. The next palette was the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Center Stage palette. This is new to me. I got it right before we started last month's palette stack. So I used the Center Stage palette 6 times, and I mostly again reached into the very similar shades that you think I would, neutrals, a yellow, and like one of the 2 or the darker shades. But this is the Center Stage palette. It's a really pretty, cohesive, beautiful palette, and I'm going to keep this in my December palettes. This one's just so pretty. I'm not really over it yet. And I really like this yellow because it's kind of a mustardy yellow. So far, out of our list, this is the one I use the most with 6. But I don't like that the cover's pink and nothing on the inside is pink. Next up with the Colourpop Bye Bye Birdie palette. I only used this twice. I reviewed it and I touched it once after that. But to me, it's just really warm. I'm not into warm colors lately. I've been really on the cooler side of things. But it's really cute. I'm glad I reviewed the collection. I thought the look I came up with in that freaking video was so cute. Like, look at this picture of me with the wig with that collection. It's so nice. But for me, I'm not into worms right now, so I didn't get much use out of it, but I got 2 uses out of it. Probably not worth me spending the money that I did on it, but it's cute. Next up is the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star Cosmetics Conspiracy palette. So I used this palette 10 times. So this is a new front runner of how many times I used. I used this 10 times this month. I used it 4 times for videos. I did first impressions of it, and then I had 3 looks, 1 palette using this palette. So that is 4 out of the 10 times I used it. I've used it more than 10 times if you count face stuff, because I've been using Ranch as a highlighter. I know some people said they're using, what's this one, Tannicon as a contour. I've been using Ranch as a highlighter for my face, but for the eyes I've used it 10 times and I don't feel like I used it that much. I feel like 10 sounds like a lot, but I've really kind of just focused on the same neutral colors. This top row has been like everything to me, and I also really like this silvery shade too. So I've been using this pretty frequently. 10 times is pretty good. And I'm not over it yet because there's so many colors in here. I feel like I haven't dipped into anything but the neutrals. So the next palette is the Mini Controversy palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics and Shane Dawson. I used this palette 4 times. So I did a 3 looks 1 palette with it. And I also used it like 3 days ago. I used another look because I want to use a little bit of blue. So again, I've really been dipping into the neutrals of this shades. I really like this My Apology Red shade. I really like it. It's so pretty. And then I use the blues for the lower lash line mostly, but I really like this palette. I think it's nice. It's not as good quality in my opinion as the Conspiracy palette, but the Controversy palette is really convenient. It's really cute and definitely travel friendly, and I'm glad they're putting that green shade in the next version of this palette. Okay, so the next one is the Love Bird palette by Colourpop. This is $12. It's only available at Ulta, I think, but this is this one, and I only used it one time for an Instagram look because I wanted to try it out. I'm not really a fan of this super shocky shadow in here with 3 pressed glitters. Like, there's only 3 mattes in this palette. That's a little bit disappointing in here. It's these 3 glitters, a super shock, and like 2 regular shimmers. It's just not my favorite composition of a palette. And again, I'm not really into warms right now, but it did work pretty decently, and I kind of liked how the super shock felt. It's just, with all these glitters in there too, you don't need that kind of formula there too. It's just a lot in one palette. So, that is it that I used for November. I was supposed to use the Dose of Colors Mauve palette, but since I had so many warm palettes come up, I decided to put that in like a next month or something. So the Mauve palette by Dose of Colors didn't really get used this month, but that's just because I had so many other warm palettes I really needed to test out. So let's move on to the palettes that I'm using for December. So for December, I'm going to keep using this for my brows, not really for my face. But the Alien palette will be in my stack of things to use. I also am going to keep using the Conspiracy palette by Shane and Jeffree because I feel like even though I used it 10 times, I didn't really dip into a lot of the colors that I kind of wanted to. I wanted to use some of the greens, like this green and the darker green. I wanted to dip into some of the like gray silvery shades, and again like a pink or something, maybe the orange more. So I didn't really dip into anything but the neutrals in this palette other than for my 3 looks and the first impressions. So I want to get more use out of this one and try out some new fun colors. I'm also keeping out the Center Stage palette by Pinky Rose Cosmetics because I really like it, and I want to try some of these like reds and orangey darker tones that are more warm, but they're not like a really pinky based palette. So I want to try this one out more. It's a really cool color scheme that I really like. Also the Lunar Beauty Moonspell palette. I'm going to keep using this. This is the one I used for this eye look. You'll probably see that video before you'll see this video, so I'll link this review down below, like my first impressions using it. This palette is so lovely. I'm in love with it currently. It's got this nice cover. It's very weighted. It's very beautiful feeling. I am in love with this. Thank you, Adam, again for buying this for me because I was so surprised, and I'm still in shock that I own this because even looking at it like on the screen, I'm like, ooh, you are a beautiful palette. This is so pretty, and I'm excited to use it this month. I'm also going to be trying out the Dido Eco Earth shade palette. I haven't tried this yet. It's just been kind of sitting in my drawer for like a week. I wanted to wait till the new month started. Well, it's not technically a new month yet, but you know what I'm saying. Like the new trial of palettes started. But this is it. It reminds me a bunch of like these kind of colors that I love in these Heartlit and Bloom palettes. So I decided to put this in this month instead of Heartlit and Bloom to try it out, and also has a yellow. So I was like, if I can use these neutrals, this shimmer for the lid, and like this yellow, that's a kind of palette I would really reach for. And I want to test out the quality because I've never tried this brand before. But this is really cute. They have a bunch of other cute palettes too, but this one was like the one that I thought I would use more. And I'm also going to be using the Flutter By palette by Colourpop, which I use my full face first impressions lately. It looks like this. It's the way more cooler version of the Bye Bye Birdie palette. And I want to try to get these kind of mauvier shades on my lid. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 palettes to focus on for December. I think that's a good amount. It's not too many because this list of palettes got kind of long. And I have 5 now. I'm not going to try to buy too many other palettes in December unless something like really catches my eye. I know Zoeva, which I've been wanting to try forever, is going on sale for Black Friday on Ulta for 30% off. Azrael, do you mind? But I'm going to try not to buy it. I'm going to try to hold strong and use these palettes. Anyways, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you've been trying to do this in the comment section down below. Like, focus on using certain products in your collection. I know some people do shop my stashes, but since I change my face stuff and all that all the time, I really wanted to focus on eyeshadow, which is something I feel like I have an abundance of. Even though in my last declutter, I kind of fit all my palettes into one drawer after that because it wasn't 3. I fit it down to one drawer. That was a really good declutter. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.